What's going on, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Pod Scum. This right here, as you should all know by now, is the podcast where we dive into the deep, dark, murky waters with a plethora of legendary guests. I am, of course, your host, your bastard of ceremonies, the #1 scumbag, Rex Ruger. That's REXXX. You might also know me as AKA the King of Sleaze, AKA the Hair Metal High Priest, and most importantly, of course, AKA Diamond David Lee Roth Jr. That's right, you're looking at him, the son of glam, the front man for the band. Just smoked a few grams. I got a million fans. I'm your ice cream man, Mr. Wop, Bop, Blue Bop, Wop, Bam, Bam, Shazam, hot damn. Woo, woo, feeling good. And of course, no doubt about that, looking good, just like my audience, always looking good. Coming to you as always from the lush lavender lounge of love. This is where it all goes down. Joined as always by my main man, the Keith Hernandez puppet. That's right, number 17 in your programs, number 1 in your hearts. He's the man. I'm the man. We're going to be talking to the man because, as always, I got us a legendary, awesome, kick-ass guest. This is, of course, in case you forgot, the No Frills podcast. You don't get any frills, but what you do get is even better because that's thrills. What thrills, Rex? Well, that's looking at this face. And with all due respect, Keith, your face too, but let's face it, I'm the big cheese here. I'm the host. I'm the big kahuna, so to speak. And I'm also the big kahuna in my Passion Glam Sleaze project, Love Sword. Still looking for virtuoso level players. So if you are a virtuoso level player and you got the chops, so to speak, as they say in the business, hit me up, send me a message, slide into my DMs, do whatever it takes, folks. Get at me. If you want to be the backing band behind the second greatest front man to ever do this thing, you're looking at him. With all due respect to today's guest, of course, who is also a pretty damn good frontman himself, but, he's not quite up to Rex Ruger level yet, but, hey, we can all aspire, we can all aspire to do, more. And, of course, speaking of my guest coming in here, before he gets in here, let me just say, first and foremost, that I want to send a big thank you out to all my guests. They make it possible to be able to do what I do. So, of course, can't do it without them. Had a laundry list of awesome guests, and I can't thank them all enough, man. It's just been... We've had an amazing run on Pod Scum so far, man. At the time of this recording, we are up over 120 episodes that are out there right now. That's fucking awesome. We are up over 250 subscribers here on the channel. And, of course, we're on Facebook. So please check us out there for all updates on upcoming episodes. But enough about that. Our guest is here. Let's go chop it up with him on Pod Scum. Let's fucking do it. Fucking Christ, let's go. I'm all pumped up, man. It's death metal.
Hey, what's up, man?
There's Charlie Southern. What's up, man?
How's it going?
Listen, man, it's fucking going great, man, especially now that you're here, man. And first of all, let me just tell you right off the rip, man, that the Enigma Boundless, fucking fantastic fucking album, man. I'm digging it so much, man. And the thing that I like the most is the whole and, I see the rock journalists are really eating it up because you are really doing something different here. I like the layers of the psychedelic, kind of stuff to it, though. I want to ask you off the rip, though. That's not something that you see a lot infused into death metal. Where does that come from?
Well, first of all, thank you so much for your kind words. I really appreciate it.
Yeah.
Well, so basically, we released our first album, which we were super proud of, but didn't really get the response we wanted. So we're like, all right, how do we make this like as weird as possible? Like, how do we get really weird with that? And psychedelic rock is like some of my favorite music, especially like early garage rock, like Music Machine and shit like that.
Right.
I just love it. It's so heavy. And I'm like, all right, there's got to be a way I can fuse the two. And we kind of were already taking along the idea that psychedelic aesthetic, like in our shirts and stuff, was a good idea. So we're like, let's make the music to follow it too, you know?
Yeah, yeah, and you know, let me backtrack a little bit here. Well, first of all, man, right off the rip, Charlie Southern, Sadistic Ritual. I know you're in other bands, and we'll certainly get to those. But Sadistic Ritual is how is how I came about finding you through finding that band. But backpedaling a little bit, what was your upbringing like? How soon did you know that music was going to be like what you were going to do? I mean, did you get bit by the music bug really young?
Very young, yeah. Like my mother, huge like Megadeth fan and all the shit. She would take me to concerts when I was young. You know, like saw Rush and ZZ Top and like all these bands when I was growing up. So I pretty much always knew I wanted to play music.
Yeah, yeah, and early on, what bands or groups or artists did you first identify with? That you first really remember really resonating with you.
Definitely like Megadeth and Metallica were like huge in my family, and like growing up they're just like they're the fucking shit, I guess. Yeah. And then in high school I'm like, oh, I like these thrash metal bands. Didn't know there was different types of metal. Like it didn't really occur to me. So it's like dove into thrash metal, and that's when I started Sadistic Ritual. And it's been almost 15 years now. We've been hacking away at this shit,
And when you sit down to write music, did you have a specific, creative process? Like, whereas like you see a lot of guys, they treat it like a job. I'm going to go write. I'm going to go, sit and sequester myself away in a room for a couple hours, or, I go to a certain room in the house or set a certain ambiance to write. Do you do that, or is just shit just flying in at you all day long?
Yeah, kind of a little bit of both. I do think that certain places, I like music just flows out of me. Like whenever I go visit my parents or whatever, that's the house I grew up in, so music just flies out of me naturally. Right. Also, like, I think haunted places and shit like that, like, definitely helps. But also, I'll be at work, like, off in the corner, like, oh yeah, 1 second, guys, will like get my phone out and be like, dun, 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 like or something. But yeah. So the writing process for us though is generally me coming up with the riffs or so, and I'll jam with just the drummer, which is Joe right now. And so like I'll bring him the riffs, and I like to listen to the drummer for the flow of the song, because like guitar players naturally want to write music for other guitar players, and it gets really noodly sometimes. And like so I want the drummer to tell me like, is the song breathing enough, or what should happen next? Right. And then when we record it, our lead guitar player, Alex, he is our producer, and he kind of comes in on the recording side of stuff, like, the layers and all that.
So when you guys sit around and create this music, do you guys have, conversations, or, is there a clear objective as to when you release music, the format in which you're going to release it, whereas, I mean, like, you're seeing a lot in the music business right now of varying degrees of releasing music. People are really geared towards singles or EPs. A lot of people taking the old school route, still putting out LPs. Is there a right or wrong answer for you guys as a band?
Well, record labels obviously want albums.
Yeah.
And I personally, as a music fan, I like to listen to an album start to finish.
Me too.
I know that, and I'm gonna get a little sidetracked here, but I know like today people have like ADD really bad, and I write my music to cater to that too. And but like people are more into playlists and generally, so I kind of think in a way like we're gonna try to start doing is like go even, you say like old school's LP, but like even more old school back to like the 60s and 50s, where singles were a thing. And bands would just like release singles, and then when you had like 10 or 12 singles, you just put it on a record. Yeah. And that way it's like you're keeping your shit in people's faces and stuff.
Yeah.
with this ADD, like sensory overload lifestyle we all live today, you know.
Yeah, it's it's pretty crazy because it seems like it really is affected the music business per se, and what you guys do specifically, you know, people's dwindling attention span. You know what I mean? It's really hit the music business very hard.
It's all social media. I'm like realizing it's like the big part of it, which I was in denial about, you know. I'm like old school.
Yeah, we all were.
Good. Yeah, exactly. But I'm like, all right, well, I gotta start doing research on this shit because like I want my music to reach as much people as possible, and that's the way to do it. Yeah. So there was a part of that question I think I missed, but I can't remember right now.
No, that's all right. That's all right. In 2019, though, when you put out Visionaire of Death, specifically, you put that out in 2019, and then, you know, a year later, all of a sudden we're in the midst of this pandemic. How did that affect like your plans after you put that album out? Like, did it derail any shit for you guys?
Yeah, it prevented us from really playing and touring on Visionaire of Death. We played maybe like 6 shows to support it or so, but the pandemic definitely helped the band because we didn't stop for a second. Like there was police riots like miles away from where we were recording. We didn't give a fuck. Like we were immediately like, let's take our time on this record but work hard every day on it, and super proud of that. And we also just at least me personally, I got really fucking good at guitar over pandemic. So
what else was there to do though, right? I mean, shit.
Exactly.
I mean, you know, everything was really hunkered down, and you know, I talked to a lot of musicians on here, and obviously now with the with how different the business is now, you know, people are really making their bread and butter out there on the road. So, you know, when that's taken away from them, you know, the road and people having access to, to merch at shows, I mean, puts a big dent in your revenue.
Yeah, I'll admit I was pissed, and we never thought I didn't even know if there's gonna be shows again, you know. But I overall think it was a positive thing for me at least, because like it kind of like put a pause on everything and made everyone like deal with themselves at home.
Yeah,
you know.
Yeah.
And I think everyone really needed that. Some people are so up each other's ass, really needed just to fucking put the brakes on. And like I lived in a house with a bunch of musicians at the time, and we just played music non-fucking stop, dude. Just fucking Thin Lizzy covers out the ass, and you know, just learning how to play guitar, not necessarily for my band, but.
And now, forgive me for not knowing this, but you know, are you guys on a label?
Yes, we're signed to Prosthetic Records.
Okay, and you know, because it's such a polarizing topic now, because I've talked to a lot of guys on here that are in bands, you know, very established bands, you know, I mean, who've had longevity in the business, but even some of them are going, you know, the DIY route. You know, at this stage of the game, with the business changing so much, what is the big benefit that you see as a band of having because we all know what the big benefit of a label used to be back in the day. Somebody plucked up a band, they threw a lot of money at you, they signed you, they put you on great tours, you know what I mean? They got you in all the magazines, great distribution and promotion for your album. What's the role of a label like now for a band like yours?
So for a band like ours, like, and backing up to the DIY thing, that's great. And that's the benefit of the way music industry works now is if you're on your shit and you own your shit and you can sell it, then the bands have more money. We don't owe record labels anything. And that's awesome. But at the same time, those record labels, aren't funding these bands. They're not, et cetera, all the things you said. So the benefit to a record label now to a band like us, where if we want to get our music outside of Georgia, we need good distribution and good support. So basically a label will pay for your records to get made, and there's a built-in audience who, because I know, like me, you probably have some record labels where you're like, oh shit, like this band signed to them, they're probably fucking good, So, and basically what our end goal is to play the record label game for a while, they can help us get our music out there, establish a fan base. Then eventually we'll probably go DIY too, because then you own all your records and all you need is a distribution company.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. It's really a it's really a different game than it used to be. It really is. I mean, it's crazy.
Absolutely.
It's crazy. And how do you guys? Well, first of all, with bands, one of the big things that I see, interviewing musicians on here a lot is when I'm trying to collect information and bullet points and stuff I want to touch on in the interview, always Wikipedia. You seem to end up in bands' Wikipedia pages, and you get the dreaded laundry list of ex members. Where are you guys on that as far as like a stable like lineup? Do you feel like the lineup you have right now, everybody's rowing in the same direction, so to speak, and like this is a good stable lineup? Because it's got to be, as I said, it's got to be daunting in the music business right now, and you probably see a lot of guys who just like you try to keep up the morale, but it's so feast or famine that I could see guys just being like, you know what, I'm going to get a 9 to 5. We're not going nowhere. This fucking sucks.
Oh my God, you have no idea the hell I've been through, man. Like, I swear my life is like thrash metal Spinal Tap sometimes. So I've had this band since I was 15, and holy shit, the amount of fucking band members I've gone through is insane. Alex has been my lead guitar player. He's been consistent. He like recorded our demo, and then he joined us on our EP. I don't know, probably 8 years ago or something. And everyone in the band right now fucking rules. But historically speaking, like, who knows, man? I've had a drummer quit on tour, like day 4 of tour of like a 3-week tour. Yeah. And so I just called friends in every city. I'm like, yo, just learn dude, like anything, you name it, we've been through it. So and when somebody, it's an interesting story, like when a drummer quits right into a tour, and obviously, and for people that don't listen to extreme metal and want to just kind of poo-poo it and say, speak disparagingly about it. Obviously, it takes a lot of technical proficiency to play with that kind of a frenetic pace and speed and precision. So how do you do that? How do you call somebody up at the drop of a hat and just say, hey, show up for this gig, and and by the way, we need you to play a bunch of death metal and or thrash songs? I mean, yeah, that was insane, honestly. So I taught the other band, Nemesis, I taught their drummer like 3 songs on her day off. And then so every show we'd open up with him playing 3 songs. And then I would call like the best drummers I know in that city, and we just they'd play 1 song or 2 songs, depending on how much they could learn. We just had a revolving door of drummers every night.
Drummer by committee.
Yeah. Some people fucking crushed it. Some people went up there. I'm like, yo, what the fuck are you doing right now? But yeah, it was interesting, fun time. Never doing that again. But yeah, you know what? I have to like, when someone fucks me over like that, I have to be like, fuck you, I don't need you. Like, watch how I don't need you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just gonna happen no matter what.
Yeah,
exactly.
It's like that's the kind of retribution that you feel like you want at that moment too. You know what I mean? Like to thumb your nose at them. I mean, it's
yeah.
So you feel like this though right now is a pretty good lineup though going forward though. Like you see longevity possibly with these guys that you're with now.
Absolutely, and we have a great chemistry, writing and performing. We just played Hell in the Harbor, and it was like fucking overwhelming how fucking awesome it was. Like,
yeah,
huge crowd. Like, Baltimore Soundstage was amazing. Got to play to like hundreds and hundreds of people who hadn't heard us, so it was fucking great experience, and we're all on a big high from that for sure.
And now you guys are out of Georgia, though, which, obviously we know about the Bay Area thrashing. We know that down in Florida, it's a hotbed for great death metal. But you don't hear about a lot of great metal and necessarily, at least, I'm 50 years old, so maybe I've been living under a fucking rock and I don't have my ear to the pavement and fucking know. But what is the music scene like down where you are in Georgia, around you?
In Atlanta, it's for metal, it's solid as fuck. Great scene that's like always been there and watched me grow as a musician. But there's been a lot of great, amazing bands who broke up and shit, but they're huge influences on us.
Yeah.
Especially at a younger age. I still like listen to their demos and like get influenced by it. But the scene here is great. Like we're pumping out bands from Atlanta right now. But historically speaking, not so much though. As far as bands anyone else would hear of, I mean, you got Demon C, it's killer black metal, but like, and then old school death metal band that put out like a demo, I think, called Rot. That's pretty awesome. But historically speaking, not so much, but there's definitely some buzz going around Atlanta right now.
Well, I'm glad you brought up historically because, and to take a sharp left-hand turn from music for a minute, though, you are down in the Georgia area, though. Why the fuck do you think the movie Deliverance was picking on fucking Georgia with all that sodomy shit? I feel like that would be more of a West Virginia thing. Why are these guys out in the woods getting fucking fucked up the ass by people in Georgia? Georgia just doesn't seem like that kind of place.
You never know. There's some mountains up there that we don't know what's going on.
Is it really scary out there in the deep woods of Georgia?
No, it's beautiful, actually.
I think of that more as like, I think of like some toothless rednecks coming after me more in like a Virginia and or a West Virginia.
Yeah, and honestly, I will say Atlanta is definitely 20 times more scary than anywhere else in Georgia. That's for damn sure.
In terms of like, it's a dangerous city.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. A lot of crime.
It's pretty wild. But that's usually where the cool music happens, because there's parts that like the movie industry is like big in Atlanta right now. So the city is like kind of pushing people like me out and DIY venues and stuff out. So I'm interested to see what the scene's gonna be like in a couple of years because it's getting so expensive to live in Atlanta. I'm in the suburbs now. I can't afford that shit. So.
Yeah. Well, I just took that turn because I certainly want to absolve all the great people down there in Georgia of this image that, that unfortunately was heaped upon them with this fucking Deliverance movie. I mean, come on, man. People in Georgia are great, man. Go check out the people in Alabama and West Virginia. Those are the people down there that got the fucking screws loose. I mean, Georgia's where it's at. I always thought that, Atlanta was just a great, I think it's been more known in the past for more of like a hip hop scene, right?
Absolutely. But yeah, like I generally think that movie was like an attack on like maybe like Southern people in general. Not specifically Georgians, but that shit can happen anywhere.
They had to set it somewhere. I guess. But I mean,
if someone can make the same smear movie about New York, so easily
they could. You're right. Oh boy, could they? Let me tell you, man. Yeah. I don't know per se that way, but I mean, we certainly, certainly a lot of fucking shit goes on up here. See, when I tell people I'm from New York, they automatically defer to, what borough do you live in? Like the minute you say New York, it has to be the city. Like there's no other parts of the state. So pretty much there's the city, and then everything that's not the city is pretty much upstate New York. That's kind of how it works. I mean,
that's kind of how I was just gonna ask if you're from upstate. That's funny.
Yeah. and when you write this, angry music, and obviously the death metal is always perceived as angry, aggressive music. Where's the impetus for these songs come from? Like, are you a guy that draws inspiration from? You get this angry music. Do you watch the news, or is it from like a lot of guys write like after watching horror movies or stuff they read in the newspaper? Man, like what's what's the motivation for you?
So I struggled a while finding like what I wanted to write about. About halfway through Visionary, I think I finally found my voice. But basically, I like to like put myself in the songs, like personal experiences, and just like a lot of times just talking to people, just conversations I have with people. Just fucking disgust me to the fucking core, and I write about that. Like I really the point of the Enigma Boundless lyrics were like I want everyone to look inside themselves and see what a fucking disgusting piece of shit they are. And I want them to realize that, look in the mirror, and be like, better themselves. So it is like. Yeah, positive in a way, but
the empowering side of death metal.
yeah, exactly.
You talk to me a little bit about certainly when I Googled and dove a little deeper to get information on Sadistic Ritual, I end up on the encyclopedia site specifically for metal, and doing a search on you, I see other projects. Talk to me a little bit about your involvement in those at this point. ECTOVOID, anything going on with them?
Yes. So ECTOVOID's been fucking great. Weird circumstance, like my first show I ever played, they were in another band, Bloated Carcass at the time, and we still like I known them my whole life, or like my whole musical career, But anyway, they're great. Killer death metal from Birmingham, Alabama, which is like about 2.5 hour drive for me. But it's super worth it. We don't practice as often as my other bands, but they kind of like hold down the writing process and stuff like that, and I'll just come in and be the lead guitar player and just like know my parts basically, so I don't have to be there as much. Whereas Sadistic Ritual is my baby, and I do all the behind the scenes stuff. And then VIMUR is an amazing black metal band, kind of like Dissection Emperor style black metal. I've been in them for 10 years, about, and we just recorded a fucking great album. It's I had the same feeling I did when we were about to release Enigma Boundless. I'm like, wow, we really captured some like fucking magic here. So that's the fourth VIMUR album, title to be released, to be announced, but it's really gonna fuck people up. I'm really stoked about it. So, and ECTOVOID, we're also about to start recording our next album, which will be the first one I'm on. So
and this VIMUR band, though, and I might be saying that wrong, but do you guys have like kind of like alter egos? Because it looks like they had you listed with another name in that band. Yes,
we like to transcend from our day-to-day selves. We're something else on stage, and that's what it's its own band's thing for sure.
And I'm interested. You said Sadistic Ritual is your baby. Going back in time, it boggles my mind sometimes how the most difficult part sometimes of being in a band can be putting a fucking name that isn't taken on your fucking band.
Yeah.
And Sadistic Ritual really seems like it fucking, I would have thought, and of course you do say that the band goes back quite a few years, but I would have thought that would have been something that would have been fucking taken.
Yeah, it was weird, and like I didn't even come up with that name. The guy who I made the band with back when I was 14, 15 made it, but it was just funny. It was just like such I don't know, it was just like, oh well, we like the word sadist, and ritual's cool, so let's just it like was no meaning or no cool way we came up with it. It was just like, oh yeah, I guess this works. And I don't know, I have just wanted it so bad. I want this band to work so bad that I just have tunnel vision, and I ran with it, and have his blessing to use the name. So yeah.
And I want to ask you too about you guys' ability in your career to tour, because obviously sometimes touring, while it's an imperative part of being in the industry, it can be tough for some people, especially as you get older. The narrative in your life changes. Maybe you have kids, a significant other, a job that keeps you tethered, to the area and unable to go away for long stretches. How accessible, to the road are all of you guys? You know what I mean? Like, do you have jobs that keep you there? Is it easy to say, hey, we're going to go out for 4 weeks, 6 weeks, 6 fucking months? I don't know.
Me, this is all I want to do. So I'll tell any job to go fuck themselves on tour. But other people have better jobs they don't want to lose. So we are pretty accessible though. We plan on touring more. We're just kind of like saving. We kind of feel like headlining tours right now don't make sense for us. We need to be on bigger supporting bills, and so we're with Heavy Talent Booking now, and they've been helping us, get on some bigger shows and and open up for. Hopefully, we'll be on the road opening up for bigger bands soon.
And when you say opening for bigger bands, you know, in your mind, you know, and this is of course just playing like you know, fantasy promoter, but you know, I mean, who would you love to see, you know, you guys land on a bill with? You know, I mean, if you're putting together like that, you know, that dream bill, you know, that you guys can plug yourselves into.
As far as bands that are like just badass and we love, like, you know, Violence, Demolition Hammer, you know, all of our big influences. I mean, if it were my choice, I'd love to open up for Megadeth or Metallica or some shit.
Of course, yeah,
because that's like,
right.
Yeah. If obviously I'm gonna pick like Iron Maiden, Metallica, Megadeth. You know,
sure. I'm the same way, Charlie. Look, I'd love to have any of those guys on my little modest podcast here, but I have to work up to that. You know what I mean? So
it's good to have goals. You know.
It's good to have goals. Yeah, you know, it's you know, it's somebody one day, maybe tomorrow it's James Hetfield. Who the fuck knows? You know what I mean? Dare to dream. You know, I'm so glad you brought up. You specifically went to thrash bands. So you know when you mentioned playing with Metallica, Megadeth, I love that you mentioned fucking Violence. Quick story. I mean, the first episode that I did, my inaugural episode, was with the drummer Perry Strickland of Violence.
Hell yeah, that's bad.
Very soft spot with Violence. And the thing that I love about Violence, and you know, I don't know like where their future's headed right now. Bobby Gustafson was in the band, now he's out. Perry, who I'm talking about right now, was in the band. The original drummer is out. You know, but I know there's still a form of Violence going. I think Sean is still in there and Phil Demmel is still in there. So that's a couple of core guys there. You know, I hope they do continue on. You know, but. Specifically, you know, I can see why naming Megadeth and Metallica, but what is it for you? You instantly went to Violence, which is not a thrash band that a lot of people go to.
There's a big influence on me. I love their guitar playing, their rhythm section and everything. I got to see them. They do a fest every year, Mass Destruction Fest, which we're actually playing this year with Autopsy.
Yeah.
And that's where I saw Demolition Hammer. I saw Violence recently. I actually got like first time I got like a little starstruck, like when I saw Sean Killian over there, and like I have a very outspoken, loud girlfriend. I was like, "Oh, babe, like that's fucking Sean Killian." She's like, "Oh, what the fuck?" Pulled him over and like took a picture and shit. Yeah, that's awesome.
well, you know, he's one of those guys though, man. Again, with a very polarizing style, because the cadence in the voice in which he sings in, you know, people either seem to love him or hate him. You know, I mean,
yeah. It's definitely that for sure.
It's an acquired taste, but what I love about him though is when he sings the songs that he wrote. You know what I mean? He literally has and I mean this as a compliment. I even told Perry this, you know, when I talked to him, and I've been in talks with Sean, just scheduling wise, just getting him to come on the podcast because, you know, outside of how talented he is and how much I love Violence, he was also through a lot with you know, with cancer. Yeah. He got a liver transplant. I mean, you know, the fact that he went from where he was to kicking ass back on stage again is really a testament to you know, how strong-willed he is, you know. And
I really did not think that was a band I would ever get to see.
No.
And I'm so glad, like, it, you know, you were saying you're unsure of the future, but you know, I'm just thankful that I got to see them live. Like,
yeah,
fuck yeah, that was awesome. Yeah.
And the fact that when he sings those songs, man, and again, I mean this is the highest compliment. It sounds like some kind of escaped lunatic fucking singing those songs. He's got that in his voice.
That's what I like about it. Like, I like singers who are like, especially, you know, I could never be a standalone singer. I just did vocals because I had to. Oh shit.
Right. Right.
Sorry, someone's calling me. Team. Okay, sorry.
All right.
So yeah, I love that Maniac style vocals. I like, a lot of people don't like standalone vocalists. I fucking love it, dude. Like they are the connection from the band to the crowd. They, you know, they're the translator.
Yeah.
And he's fantastic frontman and vocalist, and like, yeah, he had liver transplant, went through cancer, and he's like stage diving and shit. Like
crazy. I know. And, yeah, absolutely fucking insane. And I've had my, you know, I have a friend who's in a thrash band down in North Carolina. I've had him on the show, went to school with him and stuff. He's from upstate New York, and like we've done our list of like the, you know, our opinion on the best thrash albums of all time, and I always have Eternal Nightmare in there. I mean, that's just a fucking monster, a fucking album, man. I mean, like that's
I love their second album too. Oppressing the Masses.
Oppressing the Masses. Yeah, just absolute blueprints on like what thrash should sound like. And I've had the good fortune to talk to a few guys on here recently who are in bands, who are currently, I think, doing thrash, the right way too. Just that good classic old school thrash sound. But I'm interested. You mentioned wanting to play with these thrash bands, but yet you're categorized as a death metal band. Throwing genres out the window though. Like, what do you think of you guys as? Are you a death metal band or are you a thrash band?
We definitely started as a thrash band. Like that was the goal for. But now, labels want you to categorize yourself, but we just want to play heavy music. Like it's kind of, it's funny watching people try to review our albums. Like this guy recently was like, if this death metal band made a classic heavy metal record and threw black metal in it and with awesome guitar solos, like what the fuck, like it's kind of just what comes out. I think we've established our sound, and we're just gonna run with that, and call it what you want. It's like really, if you want to get Spinal Tap with it again, blackened death thrash or something. That just sounds stupid. I don't know. I don't like
yeah, just what metal needs, Charlie. A few more genres, right?
Exactly.
But I'm glad you brought up the reviews though, and certainly the few that I perused were extremely glowing about the Enigma album. I mean, just people really seem to be digging the album. The one drawbacks that I did see people saying, and I think they were missing the point on the atmospheric and the psychedelia that's being introduced into it, was people and maybe you can elaborate on this more and speak to fans that have this concern as the vocalist, where people are talking about like the reverb and that feeling of the pullback on the vocals. I get it. It's akin to the sound that you're trying to shoot for.
So you're saying like the vocals mainly, or
I saw some guy. Yeah. So I went to the usually when I'm checking out a review of an album, usually whenever I put in an album review, the first one that pops up is usually, and maybe you've seen the site too, Angry Metal Guy.
Yeah.
And he himself didn't say, he liked the album. He gave it a very favorable review, but then down in the comment section, somebody was talking about saying that when they're listening to it on Bandcamp or Spotify, they thought maybe it was their connection, that the lyrics sound like less in the mix. But I believe that's intentional.
It was. We did pull back the vocals in the mix a lot.
Yeah. But that's what's adding to the psychedelic and the atmospheric part of what you do, though.
Yeah, exactly. And we're just listening to bands we like and or albums we had liked that come out recently, and we felt like the vocals were too dry and like way up in the mix in previous albums. And like I'm not like I feel like lyrically I'm a strong vocalist, but I'm not an incredible vocalist. That's not like my instrument. So I feel like the instrumentals should shine more instead of the vocals being made in the mix. You know what I mean?
And I think that speaks volumes. I think that speaks volumes as you being the singer, even saying that though, because obviously sometimes in the rock and roll business, man, like you do want to sometimes be the one that's on stage and shining. You know what I mean? Like, so for you to have that, that humbleness to you, really speaks volumes. But you're also showcasing your own instrument though, because you do play a lot of leads. Is that tough, like for you to be able to sing and play guitar? Obviously we see guys do it at a high level, like a Dave Davidson from Revocation, or obviously you mentioned Megadeth before, Dave Mustaine. You like pulling double duty like that though? Really being in the forefront, of the guitar playing and singing.
I take most of my pride and like what I take back from this band comes from the songwriting mainly. Yeah. That's what I'm mostly proud of. Performing obviously is fun as shit live, and I do like being a vocalist. Sometimes in between songs, I get like really like, God, what the fuck am I gonna even say to these people? Because I'm I'm not like a very like super outgoing person in public. Kind of awkward. So, but anyway, like so a lot of times I just have backing tracks going or something. In between songs, I do enjoy being the fucking vocalist of this band. If I was in any other bands, fuck no. wouldn't do it again. But I do take pride in what I've done for this band. I feel like there's no one else for the job, you know. So yeah, like I definitely enjoy it, but like songwriting is where I take away most of, you know, my pride from this band for sure.
So are you saying what Sadistic Ritual needs then is a hype man? Like you need like a Flavor Flav type of personality, right? To kind of like talk in between the songs and get the crowd hyped up. That's what you're really on here to say, Charlie.
Yeah. Shoot people with t-shirt cannons and stuff.
Yeah, right. Like you need that guy to take the shine off of you, and then you can go like, you know, noodle around and tune up and go talk to the drummer or whatever, and you don't have to have that interaction, you know? I mean,
yeah, exactly. Hey, if you know anyone who's willing to do it for free, I'm game, dude.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, there you go, man. You know, the guy just put a job opportunity out here for people listening. You know what I mean? You know, you could find yourself tomorrow, of course, working for free, as he said, but you could be Sadistic Ritual's hype man.
Yeah, we would ruin your life for free.
Yeah, they'll ruin your life for free. They'll take you on the road, corrupt you. And what is life like on the road nowadays? Because obviously, man, everybody's written rock memoirs out there. We've heard tales of debauchery, but this is back when the economy and or the music business was really fucking thriving, though, man. But what's life like now for a bunch of young guys packing into a van? Well, excuse me, maybe you guys have access to a tour bus. I don't want to die. I certainly don't want to insult you guys, but I mean, I get the feeling that you still might be van level, and there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, you know, a lot of guys have said that their most enjoyable tours were back. You know, Henry Rollins used to love to jump into a van. I mean, he likes that nomadic lifestyle. You know what I mean? Touring around, not being necessarily comfortable in some big air conditioned bus or whatever. So it kind of adds to the whole, like, you know, nomad experience kind of. But what's life like out on the road? Because I think people that watch, and hopefully they don't have this idea of the business no more, but, you know, the idea probably is, you know, when people are growing up and want to be rock stars, oh, they're out there having a ball, sex, drugs, rock and roll. You know, I mean, like, what's really going on out there, Charlie?
So the past, you know, probably 10 or 12 years, or maybe like not the past, but there's a good chunk of the band where, yes, it was sex, drugs, and rock and roll, absolutely. But we were getting nothing done at all. Yeah. So we're a lot more focused now, and you know, when we go on the road, it used to be very uncomfortable, very unorganized, and all this shit. We recently just got someone managing us, and that's been fucking huge weight off my shoulders. Everything's running efficiently, and you know,
that's good.
She's from upstate New York. She doesn't take no shit from anyone. Fucking, I would not want to be on her bad side.
From upstate New York. Whereabouts in upstate New York is she from?
She's from Buffalo.
Oh, nice. Yeah, see, that's what it took to whip this band into shape. A good upstate New York girl.
Yeah. Actually, my mom's from upstate New York too, so that's
no kidding. Wow,
yeah,
awesome. Yeah. See, I'm closer to the next city down, which would be Syracuse. Yeah, I'm closest to that area.
Yeah.
Smack dab in the center, smack dab in the middle of the state. It's literally central New York. I mean, it's literally smack dab right in the middle.
Hey, I'd rather play Syracuse or Buffalo over New York City any fucking day, man. Like,
yeah, well, like, you know, you're guaranteed to come up here. You know, you're guaranteed to come up here probably at least 7-8 months out of the year, and probably find it to be either cold and or winter. But I mean, other than that, beautiful place.
I like the cold. So. Anything to get away from the swamp down here.
Well, if Sadistic Ritual finds its way up into our neck of the woods, hey, you know, I'll have the guest bedroom ready, Charlie. Don't worry, man. I got you guys. Don't worry. You know, I know how tough it is out on the road, man. You know, people need the kindness of strangers and hospitality. You know, I mean, yeah, it's great, and that's one of my favorite things about the road. And yeah, just to answer your question, lately it's been way more comfortable because we're more organized with our money, and you know. I don't know. We're just more successful, you know. So there's more income, there's more shit, there's more at stake. So we're more on our shit. No one's getting wasted and running away in the night and all that shit. Honestly, most of the time we just drive to the next city at night, so we don't have to deal with traffic and shit. So it's I don't know. It's been a lot more controlled and calm, and I love it. I love being on the road more than anything, and I feel like I get to be my true, authentic self out there. I don't have to be like the fucking, you know, be a line cook or be a fucking kitchen manager or some shit. I don't want to fucking do that. I want to be the singer of Sadistic Ritual. You know what I mean? Yeah. And obviously, life, you know, for completely different realm. Obviously, this is not necessarily your end of the pool, but obviously, at least I hope it's obvious for you, especially as a frontman. But obviously, like, you can tell the hair, the poster. I think it's pretty evident that that you're talking to David Lee Roth Jr., right?
Hell yeah.
And so I guess with that being said, what my favorite road ritual is, and of course this was passed down from the old man. How much cocaine is being done off of hookers' asses? Is that still going on, or is that not even a thing?
I'll not confirm or deny that, but
okay, fair enough. And does any of the guys in the
I also want to point out this whole interview, your head is like covered the S, so it just says "cum" in the background. I thought that was fucking hilarious.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, well, because it's called pod scum. But yeah, you're right. I guess positionally, I didn't wind up in a real good spot here. Are any of the guys in the band in a Yoko situation? Are there any girlfriends interfering in all of the sadistic ritual business?
No, we are a MILF band. We all date MILFs, and we are all in happy relationships.
Nice. And when you say MILF, man, like, what does that mean? I'm assuming, man, that I'm looking at a fellow who's probably like late 20s, maybe?
So I'm the youngest one in the band, actually. I'm about to turn 30.
Okay.
No one's quite 40 yet, but, we're like all mostly in our 30s. And whoever we're dating is a mother, and a really fine looking mother too. Yeah. Okay,
that's a good shout out to shout out to the females in the boys' lives here, man. You got to have a good woman behind you. So, like, to a 30-year-old man, like, what's a MILF? That's got to be 40 and above.
Just a mom in general.
Just a mom. Okay. Yeah. Because I guess getting back to it, when you really strip like MILF away, there's really no age parameters. It's just mother I'd like to fuck. You know what I mean? Like. I get that. So, like, I guess, I was way off base on that, man. I guess I'm still fixating on the fact that cum was over my fucking shoulder the whole time.
That's sick. That's rock and roll, dude.
So you were saying about being on a bill upcoming with the legendary Autopsy, right? Weren't you saying that at the top of the interview?
Yeah, Mass Destruction Fest. My friend and our booking agent Amos Rifkin, he does A-Rip production and Heavy Talent. He puts on a fest every year with a couple of people in town, and it's pretty awesome every year. They bring over bands like I never thought I'd see. I got to see Demolition Hammer, I see Violence. This year I get to fucking play with Autopsy and Coven, going back to psychedelic rock shit. Huge Coven fan. Jinx Dawson recently designed a new sigil for us, which we haven't released yet. I'm really stoked to hopefully get to meet her and talk to her, at least see Coven. It'll be my second time seeing them, but the first time was incredible. So.
Yeah, I will say, man, that I've been a little disheartened, though, going online, man, because I really, 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 I'm happy that I discovered your band, and I really love what you guys do, man. But I'm not quite, and I'll tell you, since this is your baby, you know what I mean? I'd like something in the form of a sadistic ritual hoodie. You know what I mean? Like, I'm looking at the merch, and I'm not super satisfied, Charlie.
Yeah, we're working on that. We have ideas for all kinds of merch. Hats, whatever. I've been experimenting with bleach dyeing shirts that look really fucking cool. It's all coming. I promise.
That's good. That's good to know. Man, because I realized the other day, after I took a shower, man, when I open up my drawers, man, I own nothing else but band t-shirts. It's become my whole wardrobe. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know if it's the same for you. I'm sure it probably is, because you're in a band, you maybe you're exchanging shirts with guys you're on the road with, man. But it starts to become your wardrobe, right? Going to concerts.
Yeah, I do like to wear a blank shirt every once in a while, just so some jerk off can't be like, "Oh, dude, you want the band?" Like, I don't know sometimes. But most of the time, band shirts. I like really minimal band shirts, and I also like the tie-dye shirts that people have been doing lately. Like, that shit's really cool. I think metal needs more. You're
getting a little pixelated on your end.
Yeah, what'd you say?
I said you were getting a little pixelated there, your face. There you go. There you go. You're starting to get clear again. There you go. I know. It's the fucking internet, man. I'm at the I'm at the mercy of the internet, man. And I'll tell you quickly, man, the other day, it's, since I'm talking about the connection here, I was totally at the mercy of and I vented about this on the episode that I had last night, man. But since I have somebody on here who I think will be able to at least commiserate with me and feel bad about this. So I do these on an Acer Chromebook, the episodes. And I was having this weird thing, and I'm not very tech savvy. I'm 50 years old. Like my son is giving me a tutorial on the things that I need to do on here. Open up the goddamn thing and get to the site that I need to and do the fucking podcast. We were originally doing it together, but long story short, he's got kids and a family, and it's hard for him sometimes to be involved in the interviews. So just better that I went at it alone. But he helps me with the technical stuff from time to time. But what was happening was I was trying to open Google Meet, and it wouldn't open because it kept telling me that I'm offline. But yet I'm looking at my connection and it says strong signal. So I call up the good fuckers at the Acer company. And he tells me to do a fucking power wash on the thing. And I ended up losing, long story short, in my Google Drive because I didn't have it backed up, man. All I said was, and again, not being tech savvy, I said, when I do this power wash, I have episodes in my Google Drive. Will I lose them? He tried to tell me after the fact that he told me that I needed passwords and to have the 2-step verification and my phone number in there, which, I guess, me taking some of the onus, I didn't have that stuff in there, but he didn't bring that up or whatever. So long story short, I lost 6 really good fucking episodes that I had taped. I've since been in contact with those 6 people, man, and they all are being pretty cool about it and willing to like run back another interview with me. But fuck, I was gutted, man. I mean, I had some, some guests in there that were like, I love hardcore music, I had an episode in there, full disclosure, with a guitar player for Agnostic Front. Just, stuff that really bummed me the fuck out. I was bummed. Yeah.
Well, hey, you got
I feel better than
good episode right here, right?
Charlie. Thank you, man. You're a good therapist, Charlie. I'm glad I could get that off my chest to you, man. Very frustrating, though.
Yeah, for real. I get that. I'm not tech savvy myself, but at least you got another good episode right here,
I do. Yeah. And but yeah, that's the point I want to get at, though. With social media being such a big part of propelling and catapulting a band out there, you know what I mean? Like, is there somebody in the band, since we're talking about technical stuff, full disclosure, you're saying that's not really your ball of wax, but is there somebody in the band, who is good with that kind of stuff? Because it does seem to be a big part of the industry nowadays.
So, yeah, recently, and I'm talking maybe less than a month ago, it dawned on me. I'm like, I need to up the social media game. So I've been doing a lot of research on how the algorithms work, and I'm trying to wrap my head around it and just be on there more. And so I've taken over that job recently. I'm still learning, but it is a huge part of it. I realized that's just the way the game is now. And if you want it, you got to fucking learn it. If not, then whatever.
Right. Well, people are going to streaming platforms, but then everybody's got to have a fucking Instagram and a fucking Twitter and a fucking Facebook account separate from your own for the band and all this shit. I mean, it's
time consuming, and I hate staring at my phone. Like, everything I write about lyrically is anti fucking technology and how we're so lazy and shit. And here I am sitting on my phone all fucking day.
I know. Yeah. I tell my son the same thing, because a big part of me cultivating interviews and having conversations, is through Facebook Messenger and emails, man, with potential guests too. And I get it. They're the exact same thing. There's a band from the Netherlands right now and that's one of the interviews that I lost. I've interviewed 2 of the guys from the band, but there's a great thrash band over there called Cryptosis.
Okay, I'll check it out.
And they're a 3-piece, and they're absolutely amazing, man. But they only have one album out called Bionic Swarm, and it was their debut album in 2021. Apparently, they were known by another name before that. But yeah, it's all talks about a futuristic dystopian society where technology has really kind of almost like kind of plugged in, like what Voivod has always been kind of warning us about, technology, taking over humanity. I mean,
for sure,
Scary to think that.
New Voivod album? Yeah, new Voivod album. You listen to that? That shit's awesome.
Amazing. Yeah.
It's so good.
And such a consistent band too, man. Do you ever worry about that as a band though? And I'm glad you brought that up. Do you ever worry about, because I know musicians will say, I write the album or the songs that like I would want to hear. As a fan, first and foremost, a lot of artists will say they write music for themselves. But ultimately, though, you do give this music away, and people do adopt it and take away from it what they're going to. Whatever message or whatever the song speaks to them and resonates with them. But do you ever think sometimes though that like when you write a song, that maybe it's or when you're writing this material that do you ever have any concern when you write a full LP that maybe some of the shit that you're writing that's really fantastic though, and we talked about people's attention span before, maybe some of this music, the deeper tracks like don't get fucking heard? Does that bother you as an artist at all? Or can you not even is it healthier just to not even think about it?
It's definitely healthy to not think about it. It does. It is.
It is.
It's definitely a concern of mine. But like, I know at the end of the day, I will not put out material that I'm not happy with. That's why we didn't have a full length album for the first 10 years of bands, because we actually recorded like 2 or 3 full length albums and trashed it. And because I was like, it's first album's so important, it's got to be good enough. And so I'm confident that like my standards won't allow us to put out any bad material, and I'd rather just not put something out rather than put out garbage.
And what about when you change, another part to that question, where I was originally going was like, and I don't know if you guys are already pretty experimental as it is. I don't know how much more that you'll defer away from your sets, the sound that you've carved out for yourselves. But when bands like you get a lot of blowback from fans who will say, oh geez, this album sounds like the last one. But then people want but then the minute you start, Metallica is a great example. Everybody wants Master of Puppets over and over again. The minute they go do something with Lou Reed or they do a ballad, people are crapping on them. But then the flip side of that is though, suddenly like you're saying like, my God, this sounds just like the last album. So you're really damned if you do, damned if you don't. Do you put any thought into that at all?
In my book, there's 2 kinds of bands. There's bands that put out the same album all the time and you expect it and it rules and you're like, fuck yeah. And there's bands who change and evolve their sounds and go in different places and keep you guessing and keep you excited and interested, intrigued. And I think we're that band. Not to knock the bands that do put out the same album every time. Like I'm all about that, honestly. Like, but we are a band that we're always going to constantly evolve and try to find something new and excite us and excite everyone else too.
Right. Like I feel like an example like that is like a Creator or an Overkill just put out like something ridiculous, their 21st album. And what you're going to get from those guys when they drop an album. It's pedal to the metal thrash and they don't tweak the sound. They don't fuck with the recipe, so to speak, at all,
Yeah, I love that. I love Overkill and I love that. It's fucking great.
Yeah.
But, yeah, we're a psychedelic band. We're going to fucking get as weird with it as we possibly can without making it lame,
So was there any psychedelic, or what people would perceive to be psychedelic music? Like, in your childhood, you were talking about bands, that you remember your parents listening to or whatever. But I think when we think psychedelic, we think of like Fish or the Grateful Dead, or we think of stuff like that. Like, was there ever, was there any of that influence at all?
In my childhood, no. But this is the thing with me with psychedelic music. I love psychedelic rock. I love early psychedelic stuff, but I hate that hippie bullshit. Like not into that. That's why, like, I don't know if you know who the Music Machine is. They're like, they dressed in black and they fucking had leather gloves and they're fucking badass motherfuckers. Coven, another like really sick satanic occult band. I liked the stuff that wasn't in like the Doors, really dark, Pink Floyd, really dark stuff. I don't like the fucking peace and love hippie incense and peppermints bullshit. You know what I mean? Yeah. So that's I like to take from the darker psychedelic side. And another band I think really successfully did that was Alice in Chains, combining heavy music with psychedelic. And they're like perfect combination. And we draw a lot of influence from Alice in Chains.
I got them right there, and somebody made that out of wood. Amazing, right?
Yeah, that's sick.
That's carved out of fucking wood, man. Very talented people out there, man. So somebody sent me that from Etsy. But yeah. So like, what did you how young were you? You're talking about that scene, man. Like when all that grunge stuff exploded, man. Like, what were you? You must have been very young then, right?
Yeah, I was born in '93, so I didn't like get to experience it happening. But one of my first shows I ever saw was it was Velvet Revolver and Alice in Chains
Really?
It was Alice in Chains' first comeback tour, so like that was cool to be able to see that.
Right. So this is after Lane has already passed away, then, right? This is
I believe this was 2007, 2008,
yeah.
And his replacement singer is actually from Atlanta.
Amazing. Yeah, he's good. Yeah, he's good. And so what does the future hold for Sadistic Ritual? The Enigma album came out in what do I got that in 2022. So that was just last year. So I mean, but is there that pressure though? And again, we've been talking about it throughout the interview about the dwindling attention span of people and the high demands of the industry. You know what I mean? Is there like an internal clock like ticking, like when to get music out and how soon to get it out?
Yes, there is. But also, my standards will make me not, release it when it's ready. So right now we have 3 new songs that are done, recorded. They're gonna be on a split with a band called Wormwitch from Canada.
Okay.
They're kind of like crusty DB black metal or something like that. They're pretty sick. I dig it. And so 3 new songs, fast one, medium one, and a ripper. They all fucking rule. And then, so those are done. We just sent those off, and we're about to start writing the full length, which I hope to have at least started recording or finished recording by the end of the year. And we also got a big tour coming up, which I can't announce yet, but
fair enough.
Yeah. So we definitely.
And this is going to be.
Sorry, what did you say?
No. And this is definitely, without divulging too much, man, like this is a tour that you really feel like is really going to be a really good push for Sadistic Ritual.
Yes. Touring with a band, it'll be their first time in the U.S. and they're an old 80s band. That's all
awesome.
I can close. So it's gonna be killer. They're on Mass Destruction Fest with us, and we're starting the tour in Miami on Halloween. It's gonna be fucking sick.
Yeah, that's cool. That's cool. Are there any, I have to ask, as a New Yorker, are there New York stops?
On that tour, no, unfortunately not. We were just there on the Enigma tour. We played St. Vitus. I think it's the closest we came to you, but
yeah. That's always always where as close as people want to come to this little shithole part of fucking upstate New York. But we do have a couple of good fucking dive bars and a couple of good places around here. But yeah, unfortunately, man, I'm kind of in a part of New York State where we don't always get blessed with like the best fucking we don't have a lot of great tour stops here. You know what I mean? And it's tough. It's tough sometimes when you're working and stuff. Huh?
We do like playing Buffalo a lot.
Yeah.
We're good friends with the Hell Cannon guys. I don't know if you know them.
Yeah. And that's 4 hours in the other direction. Like literally, I'm 4 hours from the city, 4 hours from Buffalo. So yeah, I just had a really nice, a shout out to the death metal band from North Carolina, False Prophet. They've been around for ever since the '80s. But I've had the guitar player Scott on here, and after I posted his episode, very kind, very gracious. He said, "Hey, I'd love to invite you to come down. Be my guest, put you on the list or whatever, come down and see us play with Suffocation." I was wow, that's a great fucking gesture, but it's down in Long Island. I told him, I'm like, it's a great gesture, but after 2 back surgeries, it's very tough for me to drive 5 hours in a car to see anybody. You know what I mean? It's a lot.
I can imagine.
It's a lot.
Yeah, it's brutal. But that sucks. But you're still doing your thing, supporting the scene, doing your own thing from where you can from home. So, I appreciate that.
Yeah, I'm trying not to be that old codger who gets to a certain point, and I know this is tough for people, man, because like we said, you're so busy in the course of your day with so much shit coming at you, an influx of stuff from every direction, that when you actually have time to sit down and listen to music for your own enjoyment as a fan, you do tend to fall back on your old staples. And I talked about this on here before. And I'm trying to take myself out of that comfort zone and check the algorithm and check my Apple Music platform and see what they're suggesting for me to listen to, and try to open my ears a little bit and check out other bands that are out there, and you know, try to give them a platform of some type, you know what I mean, to come on and kind of get their stuff out. You know, of course, I'm not going to say that I'm not guilty of, okay, I've got some time to listen to music, I'm going to go listen to some old Metallica or some old thrash or whatever, and you know, I'm trying to have a little more of that forward thinking mentality, you know.
Have you heard of Mortal Vision from Ukraine?
No, I'm gonna write them down right
out
now though, since you said them.
Yeah, they're fucking awesome. Check them out. That's my like kind of gym band I've been listening to lately.
And this is a heavy band.
They're like, yeah, they're thrash, death thrash kind of stuff.
Yeah, that's cool. That's cool. And it's nice that you fucking you throw out like the names of bands here and there, like when you think of them in interviews too, man. Because I think like at the end of the day, like a plug is a plug. You know, I mean, getting somebody's name like out there into the ether is always nice. You know, I mean. Yeah,
and I'm just a huge fan of music. Whenever I hang out with friends, I'm always like, you listening to anything new? Like, please give me anything, something. Yeah. I'm always on the hunt for new music. That's genuine and fucking awesome, because I'm super picky, but I'm always on the hunt. That's for damn sure. Yeah. Well,
as a guitar player though, and I've asked other musicians this very question on here in the past, but I'd like to get your take, man. You know, because you know, from what I hear on the albums, you know, you are such an awesome guitar player. Are there, well, first of all, who are some guys out there as guitar players who you love, like just hearing their playing, like as a fan yourself?
Well, growing up, obviously, Dave Mustaine, Marty Freeman, you know, Judas Priest, KK Downing, and, you know, all the Iron Maiden. That's like, you know, given, right? But as an adult, recent years, the artists who have really taken a big influence on my playing is, I really love this band, The Devil's Blood. They're like a psychedelic rock band, like a satanic psychedelic rock band, but they only put out 2 albums, and God, it's just like, it's not immediately gratifying. Like, there's just so much layers to the music. The more you listen to it, the more it like you hear new things, and it's addictive. I fucking love that album. Salem Lamucci, I think is how you say his name. I'm not sure, but he's like the guitar player, the songwriter, the forefront of the band. Huge influence on me. They're like a mid 2000s band, so I guess that's like the most recent guitar players had a profound influence on my guitar playing.
Yeah.
But you know, there's, I don't know, I can't really think of actually one guitar player I guess I've recently just been in awe with. Oh, actually, another guy, Billy Strings. I know it's not metal at all.
Amazing. Yeah. Incredible. I know who you're talking about. Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen him like 6 times, and
he's quite a picker.
He's also one of the reasons I kind of started incorporating the psychedelic stuff, because I'm like, oh, here's him doing this established music genre for hundreds of years, bluegrass, but he's bringing a new twist, psychedelic twist to it, making it modern, making it tangible to people like, you know, to people like me who like, I love old school country and bluegrass, but I'm like, you'd never find me dead at what a fucking like hippie festival like he plays, you know.
You get your metalhead card pulled. You get your metalhead card pulled for sure. I mean, you'd have to. You deserve it though at that point.
but like I really, and for him to be able to reach such a broad variety of people with his music is like truly inspiring, you know.
Yeah. As a live player up on stage, man, like what do you take away from like when you see these bands? I know a different genre, man, but when you see these legendary bands like Motley Crue or Kiss, and they're getting blown up, you know, their spots getting blown up on YouTube because they're using backing tracks or this trick or this smoke and mirrors bullshit or whatever. Do you give them a free pass, a band like Kiss? Because obviously we can't replicate what we did, 20, 25 years ago. Or do you like going to see a live band and say, you know what, I want to see the real fucking article, warts and all?
Yeah, no, fuck that. If you're using backing tracks, fuck you. You're lying to everybody, and you're lying to yourself. Yeah. You're just trying to fucking make some money. Like you have enough fucking money. Let it fucking go. Let it be. There's nothing sacred anymore. I swear, man. Like it's everything is being ruined.
You hit the nail on the head there. Yeah, it is. There's nothing sacred. I mean, it used to be like live meant live. You know.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what rock and roll is. It wasn't fake bullshit, some fucking pop singer up there lip singing. And that's what you're fucking making it.
Yeah, yeah.
You know,
You know, this,
kudos for Vince Neil for going up there every night and sounding like fucking dog shit, you know?
yeah, yeah, exactly. At least we know that if you're up there and you're fat and bloated and making the audience fucking sing all the songs for you, man, well, you know, we at least know that you're doing that genuinely.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, wow, look at that guy. He's really a fat slob struggling up there, man. We see it.
And yeah, he's okay with it. He doesn't give a shit.
He doesn't give a shit. No, he doesn't give a shit.
I heard that. I heard a rumor that Zach Wilde was using backing tracks for Pantera. I'm like, what the fuck, dude? Like that one hurt. Like,
oh, Zach, come on, say it ain't so, please. Come on.
I hope not. I hope not. The suburban kid in me will not allow me to not go see Pantera when they come here, but
yeah, I was just talking about this with a friend last night, man, because they're going to be coming to our neck of the woods in Syracuse in August, and you know, it's kind of like you know, I don't know what my reservation is necessarily per se, man, but you know, maybe it's because I'm a little tainted because I did get to see them like back in the late 90s, man, like with you know, all the original members or whatever, man. But still, man, like this is still like nice to see, like to be able to look around and say, wow, here's a whole new generation of people, man, that are getting to be you know, getting the treat of being subjected to this music all over again, you know, even if it is only 2/4 of the guys, you know.
Yeah, it's paying homage to what the band was. You know, it's not. I'm not going to go into it thinking that it's going to be like a Pantera show in the '90s because, like,
right
from the stories I've heard, it's the most violent fucking shit ever. And but you know, it's the best way to pay homage. But how better to pay homage to the brothers than fucking, you know, than the two guys who were with them every fucking step of the way.
Yeah, I mean, close friends of the brothers and everything. And I think when it comes to our neck of the woods, it's going to be Lamb of God opening for him. So that's a good bill. That's a really good bill, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, how do you say no to that? It's very tough to, you know, very tough to not want to fucking fork over at least some of your hard-earned money to see a bill like that when you're putting like two legendary bands like that together. That's a good package.
Yeah, and it's like what are you going to do? You're going to go see Pantera or just not go see Pantera?
Right.
I mean,
right. And who knows how long like this is gonna last too, you know what I mean? Like those other guys also do have other gigs. I mean, obviously, you know, Charlie's an Anthrax, Zach has Black Label. I mean, I mean, like so you know, I think we all like to think like, oh, if we miss them this time around, I'll catch them the next time. But you know, fucking nothing's written in stone here. You know, I mean, you don't know if there's gonna be another opportunity or a next time. You know, I mean. What happened? Did I lose you? You there, man? Okay, Charlie is frozen. Charlie froze on us. Don't worry, folks. This is why this is the No Frills podcast, man. Because you get to see it all. I'm going to talk him through it, folks. Okay. He has left the room, but I have texted him and said, go out and come back in. So apologies for that. You know, the world is what it is. Technology gives us problems. You just heard me venting about losing episodes. So Charlie is on his way out and coming back in. And I'm sure that he is going to come back in. We'll get him back in here, man. And, you know, I was just about to go into wrapping it up anyway, folks. So, I mean, you know, Charlie's given us a lot of time here. So, I mean, hopefully we get him back in here, man. And, but in the meantime, though, man, I hope you guys are enjoying, you know, this little chin wag with Charlie Southern is who we're talking to right now from an amazing band called Sadistic Ritual. And trust me, man, you don't want to miss out on these guys, man. It's very layers of psychedelia and atmospheric music, and you know, we talked about the vocals being pulled back some. It's its very own unique sound. heavy as fuck still. Don't get me wrong there, man. But and again, for people, you know, I can tell you here while we're waiting for Charlie Southern, the singer for Sadistic Ritual, guitar player for Sadistic Ritual, to come back in here. 2022, they put out an album called The Enigma Boundless. And wow. Talk about somebody out there doing something extremely different, just amazing. And I got to say that these guys are, you know, really carving out their own sound. Whereas, I mean, they don't sound like anybody else. They certainly have a unique sound, and they're doing something vastly different, you know, than what you see your garden variety, you know, death metal bands doing. 2019, they put out an album called Visionary of Death. That's also extremely good. Obviously, you know, you can hear, Charlie, you know, regaling us with stories about the band's history and the band's past. Obviously, you know, they are out there hitting it fucking extremely fucking hard. You know, out there doing their thing. And it's not easy. It's not easy for a band in the world of extreme metal to necessarily find you know, success. Very difficult. And again, Charlie Southern was our guest here. I am working on getting him back in here just to wrap the interview up, if nothing else. He must have had some technical difficulties, and I certainly relate to that, as in the last couple of days I've had my own technical difficulties, but you know, hopefully we shall get him back in here. Un momento. I am reaching out to him here, so let's see what goes on here. And let me add the caveat on here that at this point in time, man, we've been on the phone. See, that's my dated 50-year-old mind right there talking, man. We've been on this, you know, for lack of a better word, conference, you know, call, bringing you this interview for certainly an hour and some change, man. So it has been quite the conversation we've had so far, and I'm hoping, God willing, here that we get old Charlie back in here, but remains to be seen, man. I guess we will find out here, man. But I don't know if his technology died or what happened, but technical difficulties do happen. This is the real world, and of course, you guys all know out there in PodScum land that this is the reason why this is the No Frills podcast, because again, no editing. And Charlie is I'm working on it right now. Let's see. Well, he was letting me know that he was doing it via he's just moving his charger right now, folks, and he is getting back in here, man. And yes, he was doing the interview via his phone, folks. And again, apologies. This is what it's like when you're on the No Frills podcast. But guess what? Good news, folks. More time to look at your favorite rock star. Never mind Charlie Southern, folks. Take a look at, I don't want to say a real front man, because I do love Charlie and what he's doing, man. I mean, I can't talk up Sadistic Ritual enough. As you guys all know, not every band that I have on here gets the Rex Ruger seal of approval, but Sadistic Ritual does. And I implore people to go out and check out the stuff that they do, man, because it's incredible, man. I mean, I have only recently discovered them, and I've been on a mad tear. And for people that follow me on here, watch my episodes, you guys know, you've heard me talk before, man, that I am a curmudgeonly old 50-year-old man who likes to, listen to music, and unfortunately will, fall back on a lot of the classics from, my own childhood, or, music that resonates most with me, i.e. older bands. I mean, if someone said right now, hey, you got an hour of free time, man, go listen and enjoy some music. Well, I'm not going to lie. I would probably be perusing some Metallica, some Judas Priest, some, I'd be traveling back in time, because, for the longest time, I didn't open my eyes, and I allowed very little of what's current right now. I didn't digest a lot of it. I kind of, I poo-pooed it, so to speak, and I kind of said, nah, I got plenty of music that I already like. But then hence this podcast comes along that I started about 9 months ago. And I thought, okay, I'm not always going to be able to get big, huge name people to come on here. And if I can, that's great. And I certainly want to. And it certainly propels the channel, gets me subscribers, gets me views, raises my profile. I am trying to get to 400 subscribers, after which I can monetize this actually and see some ad revenue. So people, come on, subscribe. But my point being, though, is that it has lended itself as a great tool and platform for people to come on here and pimp their band, so to speak. And there he is again, man. And it's such a shame too, man, because I really was getting into the point of getting somewhat close to wrapping it up too, and then I thought, oh no, man, just before we were going to get into the formalities and close the show up and all this kind of stuff or whatever, man. But because I call this the No Frills podcast, and again, this is getting back to the fact that I'm 50 and don't know how to do a lot of shit. I don't edit nothing, so I'm just using this time right here, just to either pimp your band, or just go on and on, yada yada yada, about my own trials and tribulations of fucking life or whatever, man. I'm sure people will slide their cursor through some of that, and I certainly encourage them to do so. Obviously they're on here, hopefully watching because they're Sadistic Ritual fans or fans of yours or whatever. And now, what do we do now? Do we move the charger to, where are you now? A fallout shelter of some type?
No, I'm
a
still
bunker, a hidden Sadistic Ritual bunker?
No, I'm in my garage. I've been doing it in here so I can smoke while I talk to you.
This is where all the action goes down out here. Now, is there band practice? Where does this band get together and jam out?
We have a rehearsal space downtown, but this is my office where I just play guitar by myself and demo stuff, and raise hell also.
And now, when you say raise hell, man, what's raise hell mean to a guy who's in a band right now in 2023? What are you doing out there that's raising hells? What time do we bring in, the dancing girls, the keg? What do we drag in there?
Yeah, all the above. And nice. It don't stop. It don't stop. I'm definitely the Hellraiser of the band. I like to fucking, actually, it's funny when I go on tour, that's when I'm behaved. When I'm in town, I like to fucking, stay up all night drinking and lighting stuff on fire. And I don't know. Also,
nice.
I like productive hangouts with my friends. I like to play music or have thoughtful conversations, or light something on fire or paint. I like to paint a lot.
Nice. I like that. Yeah. I like the idea of the painting. I've recently picked up some canvases and some stuff, and I feel like not only is it something that I'm not even necessarily worried about the finished product, but I just hear people talk about it and just how just flat out relaxing it is, and what a release it is, irregardless of what the finished product looks like.
Absolutely. I'm not actually good at freehanding freehand painting, but what I do is I'll use my projector to project whatever I want. Like that's how I did our banner. I've done a couple other bands' banners, like just hand painted. So I'll just outline the logo on whatever. I'm actually doing the Jinx Dawson sigil I was telling you about. I actually was just painting it on my my cab, my speakers. So but yeah, I just project it on there, I outline it, and then I'll just trace it over with paint, and it's like perfect.
And now you've had, during the course of our interview, and I haven't been keeping a running tally over here, but obviously you've been smoking some cigarettes or whatever. Are you somebody that who puts any kind of stock into like vocal care, warm up exercises, or are you one of these guys who doesn't have to put a lot of care into his voice and can just naturally do what you do?
Yeah, I really should be taking more care of myself, and my girlfriend has been definitely a big factor in like the way I treat my body, especially in the last couple of years.
Yeah.
So I do need to take care of my vocals, but I don't. You know, I don't warm up. I don't smoke weed and cigarettes all day. Whatever.
Yeah, that's great. That's great. I was just going to ask you, completely separate from the music, man, like whereabouts you, whereabouts you stood on the smoking of other things other than cigarettes, because obviously we've seen our marijuana laws, certainly here in the States, finally get much looser and not by any means restrictive. I am a big proponent of it, enjoy it, love it. I certainly see the benefits in it. And I work in healthcare, like my day job is as a nurse, but I still see the health benefits in it. And they've always been there though. I mean, it's sad that people are just waking up to it now.
Yeah, it is sad, but it's also cool going on tour now. It's like all these legal states, like fuck yeah.
I know.
Also, the only negative thing about it is it makes me like fucking lazy motherfucker sometimes.
Yeah.
That's
that is the drawback. That is a drawback. The laziness in the eating sometimes is a little bit rough. I mean, that's
for real, man.
Yeah. I mean, of all the things that God was going to put as a side effect of this awesome plant that he puts on there, laziness and overeating is just not a good look.
I know. God damn it.
And so,
and
so let's like fucking like talk about like how, because the music business is so different, man, how does Sadistic Ritual achieve, for lack of a better word, world domination? How do we get you guys out there? Like, what is it in today's music business? I've asked other artists this before. Is it putting together a fucking fantastic album? Is it making a video that resonates and gets lots of views? Is it getting onto a great fucking bill? Is it all the above, man? Because it seems like it's not the same formula that it used to be 30 years ago, like where where 80s bands like put out the rock song and then the power ballad, and they were all over MTV, and they were centerfolds in magazines, and they were up on 15-year-old girls' walls or whatever, man. And your band just, snowball effect, just got bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. How do you navigate now, man? Like, how do you take your band like from one level to the next?
You're not gonna like my answer, but
okay.
I honestly think what it takes to be a successful band in this day is yes, all those things, but really at the end of the day, I really honestly think it's money. I think that's how there's these big bands. You're like, why are they so popular? They fucking suck. And I really honestly think it's money. Like, I feel like if I had all the money in the world, Sadistic Ritual would be a huge band. But we have to really treat it like a business, and make the right business moves. And it's gonna be a long, slow battle, but it'll be. I mean, I wouldn't trade anything we've accomplished already for anything.
Right.
So,
right.
The living the dream for me is like to be able to live my life off Sadistic Ritual, which it's like I said earlier, it's in the band's power now. So if you can fucking hustle that merch and get out there, you can make all the money you want and own your product, not some suit and tie guy.
Right. And you will certainly be able to unload some merch on me, man, because I just think the two words sadistic ritual together on anything, a shirt, whatever, man, you struck gold right there, my friend, man.
Oh, yeah.
When you did cross that band name right there, man, because I mean, you know, in the pantheon of great, you know, thrash / death metal band names, you know what I mean? Obviously there's bands that have really picked a lot of winners. I mean, come on, fucking Violence, who we were talking about before. I mean, if you can name your band Violence, do so. You know,
yeah, exactly.
Do that. You know, that's or you know, or if you can go tap a name like Obituary or Cannibal Corpse, you know what I mean? Like, you know, I mean, hats off to you. You've done something there. You know, I mean, you know, you've successfully named a band that goes hand in hand, like with the genre that you know that you play in. You know, the name's got to fit for sure, man. I mean, you know, a game changer the minute you can infuse the word sadistic into anything.
Oh, hell yeah, I agree.
It just is, you know, I mean.
Oh yeah, also Sadistic Intent, one of the greatest death metal bands I've ever seen live. They're fucking amazing, you know.
Yeah. Every time I kept on doing like any kind of referencing or searching you, man, like they would come up in a lot of the same stuff. You know what I mean? Like, did you mean? You know what I mean? Or like, you know what I mean? Like, you know, here's a site that's talking about this. So Sadistic Intent, who I'm not familiar with, but they obviously have infused sadistic into the name of their band. A great band, you're saying, huh?
Oh, fantastic. They never. It's weird. They've been around since the late '80s, I think, but they have never put out a full-length album. But like they are so crushing live. They also were for a while they were the backing band for Possessed.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, for like a good long stretch, Sadistic Intent was Possessed backing band.
Yeah.
So, but they're so fucking badass. Yeah, there's one with like the Exorcist face kind of on the front. That's like the first demo, which is pretty solid. But their later stuff is like phenomenal. Really highly recommend it.
Well, I really hate to leave, you know, like one of the hardest questions for last, but this usually winds up, you know, really being a deal breaker here, man. But, you know, I got to ask you, as a guy with a lot of opinions and certainly, you know, certainly opinionated, I'm sure, on your musical taste. I mean, you're in a band, you must take it very seriously or whatever, obviously. But your desert island pick. I'm dropping you, Charlie Southern, onto the fucking desert island, and you're only taking one fucking album. And don't give me any of this. Other artists have tried this bullshit with compilations and greatest hits albums. No. You're taking one with you. Do you have a clear-cut answer? Because you know, it's no problem if you don't. And there are guys who have pled the fifth or just couldn't come up with one, man. But
that's tough. Straight on an island, and I get one album.
Yeah, forever. I mean, you know, of course, there is fucking Suicide as the other alternative, I guess. But I mean, you know, and I'm sure there's some albums you could be stuck with on that album that would make you maybe want to commit suicide. I mean,
yeah, I'm sure any of them eventually would. Man, that's really tough. Man, I want to give you an answer, but
I know most people do.
I don't know. It's like, who's your favorite band? It's like, I don't know who's my favorite band right now. You know?
I know. And that's what's tough. And I've also, like, while you're rolling around your head, I've also had the topic of, and I totally get this problem because this would be my problem, you know, from day to day to day, you know, I mean, it's very hard to say, geez, I'm in the same mood. You kind of want an album that can run the gamut of emotions. Like, what if you do want a somber song, or you want something that maybe caters to the softer side of you, but then there's days when you really want to fucking rage. You know what I mean? That's tough as well. You know, I don't think I'd want to be out there, you know, all due respect to the genre that you play in, but I don't know if I'd want to be out there with just a death metal album, you know?
Oh, yeah, no. The album I would pick probably would not be metal at all. It would probably be like Blue Oyster Cult or something.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah. Right. Because that is big right there, man. Because that, in a sense, if you're on a desert island, man, it's just you and your own mind out there. You know what I mean? Like, that could be bad, like, for the psyche too, though. Like, fuck, I've only got, like, you know, I've only got Slowly We Rot to listen to for the next 50 fucking years. You know, I mean, that's not a good look either.
Yeah. I knew Blue Oyster Cult would be awesome because they have the slow side, and they also have like heavy as fuck parts where I want to like still punch the hole in my van. So
Right. And that's important, man. You know, that is important. Well, listen, Charlie, man, I appreciate you being so generous with your time and chopping it up with me for this long, man. This has been a fun episode, man. And I really appreciate it, man. And I'm glad I got plugged into your band, man. I really love what you're doing, man. You know, to those assholes that are leaving comments out there about the pullback of the voice, Charlie don't want his voice to be the fucking front and center of everything. Listen to the goddamn music and appreciate it for what it is. It's intentional, people. It's fucking intentional.
Hey, and if they don't want to know, forget them, man. Yeah, whatever.
Yeah, I mean, God forbid. I mean, God forbid you can't have your death metal spoon fed to you the way it's always been. I mean, for fuck's sake. I mean, for Jesus Christ, dare to do something fucking different. Listen, man, I fucking love it, dude, man. I'm plugged in. I can't wait to see what you guys do next, man. And I'm flying the flag for you guys. I'm grabbing people by the lapel and I'm telling them, listen, you know? Sometimes that's what you got to do. Grab them by the lapel and just say sadistic ritual and then let them go, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you so much, man. I really appreciate that. And thank you for having me on the show. I had a great time as well. So fuck yeah. I really appreciate it.
Yeah. And it's been really good talking to you, man. And, for sure, keep in touch. I'll send you a link to the episode and you can share it around, like when I fucking put it up or whatever. And definitely keep in touch. And when you got shit cooking, man, we'll get on here and we'll do it again, man.
Fucking looking forward to it, man.
Yeah. It was good talking to you, Charlie, man. Thanks, brother. Appreciate it, man. All right. Thanks, brother. Later.
Bye.
Later on, bro. All right, there he goes, folks. And he graced us with a nice long conversation, too. That is Charlie Southern, guitar player, vocalist for a band that's got me really excited right now, Sadistic Ritual. And I know I get on here and get impulsive, and I love what these kids are out there doing, man. And, as I said in my little rant while we were waiting for Charlie to rejoin the room, trying to give these bands a platform, dude. The rock and roll business right now is very feast or famine, dude. So go out and support these bands, man. Help them achieve their dreams, man. Especially the good ones, man. Like these boys out of Georgia, Atlanta, Georgia, Sadistic Ritual. These guys are doing something different. Great songwriters, great players. Certainly have honed their craft. They take their instruments seriously or whatever. So go out and check them out. And I hope you guys enjoyed that episode. Thanks, Charlie Southern. And until we get together and do this thing again, remember to take it easy and keep it sleazy.